Greetings, I'm Sophis. Today I wanted to break away from vampire focused builds and go purely into the tomes. One of you in the comment section spoke about combining Virtuous Spirit, Draconic Transformation, and Painbound for a faction. I've played around with the idea. After all, it wouldn't be too different from the Virtuous Legion build from back when Archon Prophecy was released. That faction build made for quite resilient soldiers that can take punishment and fight to the last. Consider this video more of a part 1 of 2 as I'm exploring an idea. The core of Virtuous Legion runs on a combination of Virtuous Spirit and Tenacious to effectively nullify the penalty of losing models during combat, which lowers your damage. In fact, Draconic Rage ensures the units actually thrive at low health, but it also has a lot of enchantments and minor transformations that enhance the overall combat capability of that faction. Introducing Painbound into the mix isn't as simple as just putting the tome in there and calling it a day. It is a tier 3 tome with requirements after all. It would be strong if it just clicked with everything, as it adds passive buffing to a faction that wants to be attacked and damaged in combat, but it would lose some of the extra things that made Virtuous Legion what it was. So for the time being, as I attempt to make a coherent and thematic faction that can have it all, I give you the Ashen Raiders. The principle behind them is fairly simple. I'm keeping the Virtuous Spirit, Draconic Transformation, and Painbound as a core, but it's all being shifted into a more evil faction that rewards your aggression with fast growth and development. I've picked a Fire Giant ruler for a handful of reasons. Not only do giants grant their heroes plenty of good equipment, a Fire Giant can spread Ashland's terrain and boost production. The class choice doesn't really matter, but I've chosen a Spellblade for the versatility and simplicity when running a giant. Far as hero classes, I recommend you stick with melee ones and maybe some support in the mix. You want your form units to get hit after all. The recording you're seeing is made with a campaign I ran without the Tenacious trait, as I wanted to test how Virtuous Spirit alone fared, and also because I wanted the Ashen Raiders to have athletics. This is due to Oathbound with the Oath of Strife not having many mounted options, and being raiders, I wanted the units to be fast on the campaign map, so I ran them with Inner Fire and Athletics. However, I think a better option would be to give up the passive damage of Inner Fire to get Tenacious, or if you're comfortable with it, forego Athletics and have both Inner Fire and Tenacious, then any other trait of your liking. As for society traits, Apex Predator and Ruthless Raiders. Gold and draft from combat will fuel your economy, and extra food from pillaging and raising will speed up your city development. It's just a simple and strong combination to incentivize that aggressive playstyle, on top of Oath of Strife's benefits. Now, tomes. Tier 1 is simple. Pyromancy for its fire damage enchantments, then Cryomancy for its frost damage enchantments. Tier 2 we start with Tome of Virtue or Virtuous Spirit as expected. You can also pick Heroic Stand for the buff, but at least thematically, everything else in this tome flies in the face of the whole Raider theme. You could also research House of Charity and build it in your cities without thinking too much about it, as it has no visual impact. Next, we get Doom Herald. Not only do we need the Shadow Affinity, it just blends into the Raider playstyle and the Tome of Torment. Joy Siphoners and Cruel Weaponry are the key researches. Tome of Torment opens up Tier 3, as expected. Everything in this tome will see use in this faction, but do prioritize Painbound and Tormenting Projectiles. Tome of Dragons is up next for Draconian Transformation. You'll also want Flamer Focus. This faction can make good use of it. The rest is take it or leave it. Tier 4 is where this build comes together with Calamity. In case it wasn't evident before with our choice of earlier tomes, Calamity brings us Ghostfire, letting Burning and Freezing play nice with one another as debuffs. We want Accursed Armors for our melee in order to punish enemy attackers further, and Accursed Projectiles for the backline. Chaos Channeling comes next for Scion of Flame. and Infernal Focus. By now, our attacks inflict ghost fire, and attacking our melee units is a double-edged blade for the enemies, and this only amplifies that, much like in the Virtuous Legion build. With the affinities we have, the only tome we can get at tier 5 is Chaos Lord. While it doesn't have an inherent benefit to the core of the build, it gives you a good buff spell and the ability to summon your leader in combat, so it's still pretty good. This variant of the Virtuous Legion build is certainly distinct, and I feel it plays well with its raider twist. Your units are hardy and deadly, and you keep building up momentum as you raid and pillage across the land. I think it works well as its own thing, but I still want to look deeper into the possibility of making form units even more resilient. That's all I have for you today, though. Expect a part 2 of sorts soon, with a build trying to bring it all together, or at least some theory crafting into the subject. That said, I hope you're having a good day, and see you in the next one.